is buyer agency dead? Right? So that's the question that's going through so many clients of mine's mind right now. So many people in the industry I talked to. My buddy Sharon Srivatsa and I talked about this, the president of Real, a few weeks ago. So many people are concerned about buyer agency. And here's the thing, y'all. Buyer agency isn't dead, but there's going to be a lot of real estate agents who are not going to be able to share the value, right? So instead of telling a prospect you're an awesome negotiator and that you're being paid for by somebody else, share the value that you provide to them, right? Hey, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, you don't have to use a buyer's agent. Like, just straight up tell them, you don't have to use me, you don't have to use a buyer's agent. But let me ask you, what would be more damaging in the long run? If you guys bought a home, right? Like one of my friends, a friend of hers, not her personal client, but a client that she's now working with, they bought a home. The inspector missed a ton of things. Their agent missed a ton of things. And now they've been in a home for 4 years where they can't even put the new windows that they bought 3 years ago that are sitting in the garage, which means they park outside of the garage. They can't even install the new windows without doing $150,000 worth of work to the side yard, right? Renovation of the foundation, all of these basic things that a good agent would have found. Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, what would be more painful? That or using a buyer's agent who's there to protect you? Now, that means you need to go out there, right? That means you need to go out there and you need to understand homes. You need to understand the process, right? You need to go out with your inspector. You need to make sure the inspector you recommend, right? The 2 inspectors you recommend are the absolute best at what they do. If you do that, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, what would be more painful, right? Paying for the services of a professional that is able to walk and guide you through every step of the transaction, from financing protection, right, to alternate ways to get financing, to helping you make the best decision around property conditions. What would be the possible ramifications if 5 years down the road, you're $200,000 into a house and you still can't install the upgrades because you're still trying to fix the problems that you inherited with the home because you're agent, right? You should have a story about money. You should have a story about property conditions. You should have a story about financing, inspections, right? You should have a story about all of these things, how you help your clients. And if they don't have the proper help, what are the ramifications for them? All right, so if you got value from this, like, subscribe, follow, share. I'll see you soon.